Hello again, Jason Scribner here with another video for the Huntress CTF extravaganza that I'm doing. So this is going to be video 4. So we have 3 other videos, and we'll show here some of the breakdown. This is not 100% exact. We're moving them around based off write-outs, based off how long the videos take for some of these challenges. So bear with me, but so far what we have currently is we have video 1, which is already out with these easy peasy challenges that have been explained, and then we have video 2 with hot off the press. Video 3 was just uploaded with PHP Stager, Where Am I, and then the lulz challenge number 1, which by the way is not available on Huntress anymore, but there is a thread under the Huntress Discord channel, so you can go there and actually take a look at some of the shenanigans that happened with that video. And then we have video 4, which is today. I'm going to go over some of the ones that we have done, and a few of them that I haven't specifically done. I'm going to assume that they're going to be somewhat viable within this video. I'm going to try to make sure this video is not longer than an hour. I can't 100% promise everything, but we're going to try to do that. So chicken wings and Comprezz are 2 challenges that are supposedly easy. They're shown here. They're less than 1,000 solves, which doesn't give me too much hope that it's going to be super quick, but I think we can figure it out. And then we'll go over Human 2. So Human 2 is kind of a easier way after struggling for a few hours, and there's an easier way to solve that thing. And then Dialtone, which requires sound, and hopefully you guys can hear my sound when it comes in. So we'll go over that, and if we have more time, maybe we'll do one or more challenges. If not, we'll just wait for the next videos. As you can see here, there's some planning to do like traffic on video 5, back towards Splunk. That may or may not require some stuff to go on. We might add stuff like F12, and then we might do Wimble. Wimble's not solved here yet. We're leaving it for other team members to get the points out of them. But it's solved, but we'll do a future video. And then video 7 is probably going to be dumpster fire once we get the proper write-up. And then from there, we'll look into I think we need to do Xerion still. That's still going to be its own video. lulz 2, which I figured out. lulz 3 probably will come in the future once I get the full details of that, because that solve is a little bit tricky, but I'm breaking down how that works. And I think that's it. We're slowly catching up to the rest of the challenges here. They just need their own videos. And we still don't have any hard ones for points yet. The only hard ones on here are the lulz challenge, which are the impossible tasks, but I'm pretty sure they're coming pretty soon. We're just waiting in anticipation for some of the more harder challenges. So we'll go over with layered security first. This was supposed to be recorded previously, but we didn't have enough time for that, so let's go for that one first. So let's bring up, and the first thing I'm going to do is actually bring up my downloads folder here and kind of clean up the mess from previous stuff here. Alright, so let's take a look at layered security. So the note from John Hammond is, it takes a team to do security right. We have layered our defenses. It's pretty funny, pretty cool. So we're going to go ahead and download this file, and then once it comes up, let's see here. So layer security looks like it's just a regular file, and we're going to put this in a new folder for now, and I'll open this up. Okay, so it's just a regular file. So obviously the first thing we want to do here is we want to edit it with Notepad++, which is my signature move for everything, and kind of take a look at what it involves. And it looks like it's a GIMP file. So this would probably require GIMP, which is free. It's a kind of like a PowerShell, or sorry, not PowerShell, Photoshop alternative. If you have other programs that can open up GIMP-like files, those will do. But we're going to use GIMP because I have that already installed on my system here. So let's go ahead and open up GIMP. Okay. And this is opening up on my main screen here, so we kind of have to wait for it to load because it's a pretty big intensive program here. And here it is. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open a file here. Let's go to our downloads, new folder, layered security. So even though it's not named correctly, GIMP should open this up because it should recognize what it is. So let's go ahead and open this up, and bam, we have a picture of a person in front of us. Even more so, we have several pictures here, which looks like it's nested over on top of each other. So layered security, pretty funny, right? I am not an image expert. Like I don't do graphical tools. Like that's just not my job. However, I can kind of play around with this if I wanted to. I could try to look into like more information. I can show all to try to see if there's any hidden stuff. And with steganography, sometimes that does happen. There's a lot of stuff in the background with steganography that you can hide. Like you can, some people can like zoom in into somebody's eye, right, and put a flag right across their eyelid if they wanted to. That's happened before. Steganography can also be an actual live picture that has to be fed through a program that does a decryption type situation where it produces output from that image. But with this, we're just going to play around with it because there's a bunch of pictures here, right? So we can kind of click on all these, but they're not showing up. But we see here that we have the ability to see and unsee these pictures. So let's go ahead and unsee this, and oh, there's the next layer. So sometimes what you can do is you can kind of like modify where these are at, and I can pull these up if I wanted to. And I don't see anything on the bottom one, so it's not that easy. So let's just go ahead and just kind of look through and peruse through here real quick. And there's a flag. So lo and behold, this is really easy. You just kind of had to get to the layer of the picture that had the flag on it, and now the flag's revealed. And that more or less is pretty easy. It's a very simple explanation how layered security works. Technically, this is steganography because it's hiding details inside of a picture, or at least a picture within a picture, but it's really easy if you know what you're doing. So there is layered security. So we're going to go ahead and close this, discard changes. We'll go ahead and delete this. I'm going to move this back over here. We're going to go ahead and close this because we don't need it open right now. We're going to close that. We don't need that open right now. All right, so layered security is done. So now we're going to go into one of the challenges we haven't done yet, or at least I haven't done yet, and it's called chicken wings. There's 758 solves on it. Again, author is John Hammond. I ordered chicken wings at the local restaurant, but this isn't what I was expecting. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to open up a new Notepad++. I'm going to copy this over just so I have the note, because sometimes I forget about the notes. And let's go ahead and download this file. All right, so we're going to pull this into here. And as you can see, it's just a regular file. First things first, let's edit it in Notepad. Oh, look at this. Is interesting. Okay, all right. If you're not familiar with some stuff with like Word documentation stuff, there are different types of font formatting that you could use. The one that comes to mind for me is Windigs. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. So this might be a bunch of characters that just need to be converted from a Windigs format. So there's a couple ways you could do that. You could use Microsoft Word, which I do have on this operating system. You could use an online tool. So let's go ahead and do that real quick, right? So I'm going to go ahead and actually leave this down here. We'll open up a new browser here, and we'll do a search for Windigs translator, Windings translator. So yeah, let's just see what this does. And it looks very similar. So so let's copy this over. All right. Do we need to do this? And it's that simple. So again, I haven't done this before. First instinct is to obviously open up in Notepad++ to find any details about the file. But the file itself just seems to be text in a different fonts. I don't even know if that's the correct terminology for it, but that's what's familiar for me. So sometimes when this stuff is not familiar with you, because for me it's like I kind of grew up on this stuff. Like there was jokes about how to like obfuscate your text and stuff using something like Windings. I used to call it Windix, but it's Windings. And that's how you can like translate messages back and forth. So it's a very easy substitution like encryption methodology of hiding this information, right? Not that difficult. If you were unfamiliar with it and you looked at these characters, sometimes you want to kind of take a step back and not get too confused about it, and you kind of want to look for like using the internet to kind of do a search for this. And if I didn't know, or at least have a feeling that this was Windings, what I would have done is like taken like an example like this folder, right? And I would have Google searched for, text that has a folder in it, right? And I do step-by-step process. Just be careful not to go, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, don't go too far down a rabbit hole. Just because you see this in here as the file doesn't mean it's not a real file. It doesn't mean that it's encoded in any way. It could be just your simple text, which it is, because if you see here, I don't know if you've seen my previous videos, but sometimes when you decode text and you get like just a blank box or a question mark, that usually means that it's not in a text format that can be converted from like UTF-8 or ASCII. There's no human readable text behind whatever character that is, or whatever encoding that is, right? So if you have a couple of those, then it's not a one-for-one conversion for like a substitution like Windings, for example, right? So you just got to take a step back. So just verify that you have that information. With this, obviously everything, you probably don't know what it is, because I don't know what these symbols are, but they're readable symbols, right? You can see that this is an arrow. You can see that this is some type of like 69 like cyclic stuff. This is a flower, right? There's no issue with the system itself trying to decode this information for you. It's there. We just got to find a way to revert it back to actual English text, for example. So, and that's kind of a long-winded way of just, don't be too deep into it. It was super easy for me because I have a background with it a little bit. But again, Google searching for this stuff using your OSINT technology to kind of curate your knowledge helps a lot. So, and that's chicken wings. It was really easy. Did a little fluff here at the end to kind of help out with understanding that. So let's go back to the challenges here. We're going to close chicken wings out because we don't need that, and we're going to close that out because we don't actually need the hint. But I guess a final note with the Windings, because I mispronounced it. If you looked at it, ordered chicken wings, so it's kind of a rhyming situation with wingdings, or at least a reference to it. So pretty funny, at least in my opinion, right? So we'll move on to Comprezz or Comprezz. Someone stole my S's and replaced them with Z's. Have you ever seen this kind of file before? Okay, so something with S's and Z's and probably a file type, right? So let's go ahead and download this. And we'll take a look at it here in my downloads folder. We'll put it in this one. And the reason why I'm putting it into different folders is because I don't want you guys to have to focus on different files that I have currently from the downloads folder. It's all related to other work and CTF stuff, so focus on this. So it's a 1 kilobyte file. Let's go ahead and open it up with Notepad here. All right. Looks like a lot of code. I don't see anything that sticks out. Okay, but we do have this note. Someone stole my S's and replaced them with Z's. Okay. This is just code. Have we seen this kind of file before? Comprezz. Let me go to properties here real quick and go to details. Nothing I can think of. Size on disk is 4 kilobytes, but the actual size is 45 bytes. That's how much data is in it. So let's see if it's compressed. I'm going to go ahead and rename this to .zip. And we're going to see if 7-zip can actually open it. Okay. That's weird. I renamed it to .zip and it just gave me the same file. Interesting. Alright, let's try this. We're going to go Comprezz. It's probably not going to do anything, but let's go ahead and edit. It's... Oh, look at that. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I replaced the Z's with the S's, and it just gave me the flag. Interesting. Okay. I wonder why it did that. Let's take a look at this real quick. I want to size on disk is 0 bytes, 39 bytes. Weird. Okay. What type of file is this? Files ready for archiving. It's probably not going to do anything. Alright. I'm curious. So we're going to bring up, and I'm going to pause my screen real quick because I don't want you guys to see all the stuff that I'm doing here. So you're going to just see my pretty face for a while I get this situated. Alright, let's go ahead and minimize all this information so that you guys don't see it. Alright, let's open up a terminal and we'll open up home, downloads, and we'll do a new folder here. Alright, let's go back here to OBS. I'll switch this back over. Alright, so we have this over here. We have a new terminal up. And we're going to go ahead and copy this over, right? All right. It's plain. It says it's a plain text document, right? Okay. All right. Let's do CD. Where was it? Oh, it's in a new folder. Am I? No. I'm in my home. Okay. So downloads, new folder. I don't think this is going to work. Okay, okay. Wasn't expecting that. Let's try this. Let's do, we're going to go ahead. Oh, it's because it's opened. Let's close this out real quick. Okay. Let's drag that over here. Oh, it's not letting me. Let's try it again. Okay. So this, it's a Unix compressed file. Okay, so Windows doesn't really have the capability of understanding that, which is fine. We're gonna do compress. There's no strings, but it's Unix compressed file. So I want to kind of bring up here. Okay. gzip.d, bunzip, unzip. So, because it immediately detected it as a zipped file, and I'm curious on how it does that. Because that's all it says is Unix compressed file. So what did it use for compressing? And I wonder if we can do unzip. What options do we have with this? let's do gzip-h. Let's do gzip-d comprezz. Unknown suffix. Okay, what about unzip comprezz? Okay. Yeah, so what we're doing right now is we are kind of fluffing this a little bit, because even though that was super easy to just rename the file, because it would reveal the flag anyways, and it apparently is a string attached to this file, and it gave us the flag, which is super easy. I want a better explanation than that. So let's see here. Going down the rabbit hole. Interesting. I don't know how to spell. Okay, we gotta give an output file. That's probably why it wasn't working for me. So let's do that real quick. So that, and then we're just gonna do cc. Alright. That's, oh, I have insert on. It does not like that. Okay. Alright, so I'll do some more research on this, which is fine, because I don't want to waste valuable, precious time in our recording on doing some of these. But that was as simple as just renaming it to S. I wish we can have more information about it. Maybe I'll create a video later on to kind of understand the nature of this. But it seems to be a recognized Unix compressed file. And if we open that, there's another one here. And if we keep doing, I think if we keep doing this, cancel. Like let's put it in the desktop, right? Error occur extracting the files. Can't extract the files. Interesting. Because there's something weird about this, and I really want to kind of get down to the nitty gritty of understanding it. I think we can do something like this. Let me see here. We're going to rename this. Okay. That's the flag. Okay, so it's probably a gzipped file, and it just didn't have a suffix and a whole weird stuff. But if I find more information on this, we'll make another video about it. But that's, essentially that's where the flag is. It's technically a string within a file within an archive. So it was as simple as just renaming the Z's to the S, and Windows would recognize text out of it. So that was interesting, little nuance, fun, pretty funny. And right then and there was paying attention to the note, which was replacing somebody replaced the S's with the C's. So anyways, we'll go ahead and close that out, and we're gonna go ahead and create a new one here. Let's see here. Where is this one? I don't need. Go away. Taking a quick break here, real quick, as we take a look at other stuff. All right. Okay, so we'll minimize this for now. We'll go ahead and close that out too. All right, so that was Comprezz or Compress. Next on the video series we have is Human 2. So Human 2 I will do through our Linux distro. So let me get that up. So we have this iocs.zip. When we download this file, there's a lot coming out of it. So we got to be very careful where we download this, especially because Windows does give me a nasty letter stating, hey, you have possible issues here. So we're going to go ahead and open this up in our Linux distro, and I guess you guys can see all the weird stuff that I have in my downloads here. I think I downloaded it. Let me see here. I may not have it downloaded, which is fine because we have logged in to Huntress from here, and we're going to go ahead and download it. So let's go ahead and download it. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and extract this into the desktop. And we're going to create a new folder here. Let's do Control N. Oh, here we go. There's the button. Gotta look for the button. And we'll do, let's do human 2. And we'll extract it here, right? Okay, cool. So close that out, and we're gonna go ahead and it open up in here, so you guys can take a brief analysis of it. We're going to minimize this. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this here. All right, so let's go to the desktop here and do one more directory, human 2. All right, let's do an LSLA. Let's do it one more time because I like single lines. I still can't get single lines. Let's minimize this real quick. As you can tell, there's a lot of these lengthy pretty much hashes that are coming out for each of these files. And if we scroll around, like it's all in hex, so there's a ton of them. Let's shorten this out here real quick. And we see that it's just a bunch of hash identifiers, right? So what are these files, right? Well, let's take a look at one of them, right? Let's do 0A44, which is I think the first one, right? And it's a script. It's part of the issue with the move it transfer exploitation that was a problem, and we'll look that up here because Huntress does have a website for it. Let's do that. Huntress. Yeah, here we go. It's the first one on here. And they do a ton of updates on it as well. I think they were the first ones to find it too. And this article was written by John Hammond. And if you scroll down here, it does do an analysis of the script itself. And it shows what this does here. So we don't really need to read in here this whole script, but we do need to pay attention to one specific thing once I find it. So we have this and we have this, right? So we have strings being passed, and this says redacted, right? So it's probably for security measures. Let's take a look at this real quick. We'll find the same thing if we can. It's probably more up here real quick. Here it is. Bam. There's a string here, right? String equals this, right? So there's a lot of these, but there should be an inkling once you get the knowledge of what this is, because you might not know what the move it vulnerability is. It might not be a big deal anymore because it's mostly patched. However, if you do some open source research here and find something like this blog, and you see that one of the things that they see in this ASPX files, and that's what these are, they're just not .aspx, they're just random files, but that's what they pulled them from. They pulled all these indicators of compromise out, and they show you that it runs this script, and it's telling you what's it's doing all throughout the investigation here. But they did pull out one specific thing if you pay attention to it, which is this redacted. So this, to me, this is my light bulb coming out, is that we have to pay attention to what these strings are. There's something weird about these strings, okay? Let's go back to Huntress CTF real quick. And it says there was tons of indicators compromised hashes available for the Human 2 ASPX web shell. Collected a lot of them, but they all look very familiar except for minor differences. So there's differences going on with these files. Now, when we first look at just the files themselves, they're all the same length. They all appear to be the same size. So what we could do is we could do some really cool shenanigans. And hang on 1 second. Again, you're gonna have to see my very beautiful face here as I bring something up real quick. And we're going to take a look at this. And we're going to take a look at this. Okay. All right. We'll go back here real quick. That was a brief pause. All right. So we could look for, so we can manually search here. So we're looking at the size, right? So I'm just kind of slowly going down to see if there's any differences in size. And it doesn't seem like there is any differences in size. So that means they're probably all the same size, which means if this is changed, we're going to have to use commands inside of Linux to kind of spot the differences. And there are commands to do that. So if we bring this up here real quick, let's do a search for using Linux to diff command. I think that's a real command, and we can bring this up here real quick because I like. You can use man pages. I know some people are going to be yelling at me, hey, you know, it's man pages. I understand. I do like web-oriented stuff because it helps direct my attention to things, right? So here's a diff option, right? So we can do diff options and then the two files that you want. So let's do that real quickly because we're going to compare two different files. We're going to see if there's any changes between this first one, right? So let's do this. We're going to go ahead and delete that and do diff and do end. And then we're going to do, I don't know, 0, the next one down, 919, that. Whoops. That's what I meant to do. Okay. And lo and behold, the strings are different, right? Okay, cool. Strings are different. Are we going to be able to do it for all the files here? So if we do an ls and then do a word count, right? There's 65,000 lines. Actually, let me make sure this is correct here real quick. Yeah, there's 1,000 lines. So there's 1,000 ASPX files in here that we have to compare somehow. Let's kind of be gurus in our little sorting techniques here, right? So we're going to go ahead and do like a cat here. And make sure we're in the folder, which we are, and we're going to do star, right? So star is just going to select all files within its current directory. So we're going to go ahead and do like a sort, I think it is, yes. Okay, so we're going to sort these, and what that does, it's sorting everything in these files. So it makes it nice and neat in a way, which allows us to kind of play around with that, right? So we're also going to feed this to unique, right? Let's just do this and see what happens, right? So this kind of throws out anything that is unique outside of these files, right? And you see that it has all these strings, right? Strings equals pass. So we can scroll through these and try to monitor them, right? I don't see anything that sticks out like a sore thumb. This one kind of does, right? This one is long, okay? So we'll probably have to pay attention to that real quick. Yeah, that's the only one I see that's interestingly unique. We're gonna add a -c here real quick. Okay. All right, cool. And then we'll do so we're going to do another sort real quick, right? So we're going to do sort -rn, right? I think that's correct, yeah. All right. So it sorts it again. Makes it nice and pretty. And we're going to do more. All right. So we could also use less too, but basically I'm just pausing this until I can find what I'm really looking for is possibly a flag, which is probably not going to be that easy. but we can see that most of these are the same as I go down. However, we go back to that one I just saw, which are these pluses, right? Okay, so this sticks out like a sore thumb, right? Let's go ahead and copy this. And we're going to go here. And the first thing I'm going to bring up is not GitHub, CyberChef.io. That one. Okay. So we have these characters here. Very curious for me, right? So we're just going to go ahead and remove the unnecessary information here, and we're going to analyze this. We're going to see if Magic can see anything what this is for us, right? It says it's from hex dump. It could be from base 85. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do base 85 first. That looks like a bunch of nothing. We can try to do standard IPv6. No, this doesn't work. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Let's do hex. Let's do hex first. And oh, lo and behold. Okay, so cool. All right, so this worked. Let's see if hex dump works too, because I think it works as well. No, it does not. Okay, cool. Auto. So we could have changed this to dash, or do they have a dash in you? It's not about right, but it does do auto. Line feed, CLRF. That's all right. With auto, it was able to detect that there's weird separations. That's good. Okay, so from hex, so basically in hex, it's separated like this, right? Right. So we have the flag here, and then it's just a bunch of nulls, right? But if we removed all this, that right there is just flag. That's flag in hex. So with this type of stuff, when it comes to like trying to figure out, let's do this here real quick. Right. So with Magic, it does give us two options. Both the options were wrong, right? But it should make you think that this is probably the closest it's going to get, and it's something to obviously test, right? So I turn off Magic, and the first thing I'll do is base 85, because I'm pretty sure this is not base 85. If we actually wanted to look at base 85, right, let's bring that up. All right, let's say to base 85, right? You see this alphabet, right? So this alphabet is specific to the base numbering system. So if I wanted to encase my name, for example, in base 85, you see all the additional characters that are on here. So we have a $, we have a semicolon, we have a little quotation mark here, a dash, a bracket, a parentheses, right? The other one that we had here, and I already erased it, that's fine. Let's bring this out. The one that I had here only had numbers, and it only had letters, and the letters seem to stop at like B and C, right? The rest of them are numbers and D, right? So hex includes the letters A through F lowercase, right? So that should first give you the inclinations. That you take a look at this, and you see that there's a D, there's a C, and there's a B, and they're all lowercase. If we go back to base 85, right, let's close that out here real quick. This is a sentence to extract whatever knowledge, right? You see there's capital letters, right? So immediately you should be able to recognize this is not base 85. So I did that real quick. I already knew it was not base 85, but I am following kind of the Magic's kind of guesswork, right? And then you have hex and hex dump. So kind of the difference, and you can read these too if you highlight it. The kind of the difference is that from hex, it's going to try to curate based off hex digits. So usually they're grouped in twos, and decode it for you based off whatever it has, right? The delimiter, which I didn't see the specific one for dashes, which is fine because they figured it out on its own. And then you also have hex dump, right? So if you look at hex dump, it attempts to convert a hex dump back into raw data. right? Now, notice that raw data can be text, but sometimes it's just not. So you have to be very careful when you use the difference between hex dump and hex. A hex dump is literally just a dump of raw data that is in hex format at that point in time. It doesn't necessarily convert to text. However, if you do have text that is converted from hex, you want to use hexadecimal byte string characters back. You're going to get probably more text from this functionality than you are from this functionality. That doesn't mean that either one or both will or will not work depending on what it's doing. Just keep that in mind when you do that. With that being said, that completes, let's take a look at here, human 2, and let's look at our timing. So I think we have about 20 minutes to do timing, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this here real quick. Let's open up the threads. All right. Okay, so we'll go through this walkthrough. This walkthrough is provided by Kyle Barboza, who is one of the team members. So we're going to go and follow his write-up because I haven't done it, and we'll go from scratch here. So let's use Windows first. All right, so let's go ahead and bring this back over here because we don't need this right now. Let's minimize that. All right, so where is Dialtone? It's right here. All right, cool. So we have Dialtone. Well, you should listen to those notes. That must be some long phone number or something. Okay, that's interesting. So we're going to go ahead and just copy that because I need a note just in case. Let's go ahead and download Dialtone. Okay. Let's listen to that. Immediately, we're going to have to analyze this WAV file somehow. So it's a lot of dial tones. There's a lot. Okay, so we're going to close this out. There is a way to analyze WAV files on Windows. We're just not going to mess with that. I think it's going to be quicker if we use Linux. So let's go here and download the file again in my Linux system. There it is. Download. Okay. Then go ahead and open it up in here. All right, so we have a WAV file, and we're going to go ahead and do this right up here. We're going to go ahead and get a decoder. So let me copy this real quick. Let's go ahead and download a decoder. I'm not dumb but friends. Okay, so installation. If you're on Mac or Windows, pretty typical for a French guy. All right, so let's go ahead and just do this real quick. We're gonna go ahead and clear out this. Let's do downloads. Okay, and then we're gonna make a directory here. I call it DTMF, and we're going to go into DTMF, and we're going to go ahead and do git clone to, let's just do this copy here. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't work for me, so yeah, it doesn't work. All right, we'll just do it one command at a time. Not a big deal. We're not doing that tool. We're doing a different tool. Rivets. TMF coder.kits. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go inside there. We're going to do sudo Python. Don't need to state it, I don't think so. Pip install -r requirements. Text / upgrade. Super secret password. Nice. All right, so it's building dependencies, requirements, metadata. By the way, I'm not going to pretend I know exactly 100% what this is doing, but it is utilizing Python to install this for us. Okay, and we're going to follow these instructions here too. So this might take a couple minutes. And what this is most likely going to do is that it's going to allow us to extract information from that wave file. Now, if we go back to the note, it does state that there must be some long phone number or something. My assumption is going to be that it's just going to be a bunch of numbers that we're going to collect. That's what the script's going to do for us. Uh-oh. Alright. Could not build from numpy, which is required to install. Failed building wheel for numpy. Let's do a quick search for this real quick. I might not have that solved. So let's go ahead and does that work? Yes. Pip install numpy. It's already there. Let's do that real quick. Python -n pip install -- upgrade pip. Alright, let's rerun this. Let's see if this works. Still waiting for that. Hopefully it's not that type of error. Let's take a look back here real quick. Seems to be a lot of stuff going on here. It's not building it. I'm not sure why. Let's do Python 3. Does that work? It does work. Let's just go ahead and use Python 3. See if that makes any changes here. Okay. Just in case if we still have errors with my Linux system, we're going to go through these examples because this is exactly what we're going to be doing. Is we're literally feeding the WAV file to DTMF, and it's going to extract these numbers out that we want. We could do verbose to kind of take a look at how all the numbers are per second of the WAV file going off, but we're probably not going to do that. And there's a pretty cool explanation of how it works and how it's building that stuff, but we're gonna ignore that. So it did error out. again. So I'll have to look into exactly what's going on with this stuff. However, we're going to go ahead and continue. So if we had it actually working, which it probably does not actually recognize it. Nope. So as in here, DTMF, right? Actually, let me take a look at this here real quick. There's DTMF.py. Let's see if that works. Oh, it requires a file. Let's feed it a file. What was the file called? Dialtone. Maybe we'll get this to work. Oh, it did. Okay, so it does work. Let me just verify that's correct. That was really quick. All right. The whole nonsense of installing, just I guess it just aired out, but it still provided the necessary files for this Python script to work. So we're going to go ahead and proceed forward from that. All right, so we have a bunch of numbers here, right? So now the question might be, okay, what do we do with this, right? Well, some things you could try to figure out, right, is that you could try to convert this again. Remember, a lot of these challenges, we've been doing a lot of conversions. So let's go ahead and kind of do this here real quick. We're going to see, because these are all numbers. Let's do magic, actually, because that's my favorite one to use first. We're going to go ahead and type this in. Not a very good entropy for base 64. It says it could be base 85, could be hex, could be hex dump. So let's try hex. Okay, got some things, but also some things that don't work, right? All right. So stand by real quick. Sorry about that. That was a different work call coming in. Just had to verify what it was. All right, so let's continue on here. All right, so it doesn't really convert to anything. Let's try hex dump. All right, let's do this. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So we got a bunch of numbers here. Don't know exactly what it is. Some things that don't come kind of intuitively is that we might have to play around with number conversions, and there's something called big ints and little ints. So we're going to go to this website that was provided on the walkthrough, right? And we're going to go ahead and do a big int conversion. And the only reason why you can kind of verify this with this information is that it is a very big number. And the other hint that you could utilize is from the note that we have here, where it's like would you listen to those notes? That must be some long phone number or something. So phone numbers are generally not this long. Typically in the United States, you have 9 to 10 digits. Sometimes you have more depending on which country you're calling. But this kind of gives us some indication of what's going on here. So it's a long phone number. So we can do a conversion process where we feed this to kind of shorten the number a little bit. So we're just doing a big int conversion here. So what we can do with this, because you can feed it this, right? So this has been converted into a big number, right? So we're going to convert it back. So we're going to go ahead and put this number in, right? Number is a binary, convert it to and we're going to do hexadecimal because we're going to see if this works first, right? Because if we do binary to binary, I don't think it actually does anything, right? So, this is not binary, it's decimal. So we do decimal to decimal. There's not much that comes out of that, right? Because it's already a decimal number. So we're going to go ahead and do hexadecimal, right? There it is. Actually, let me see if decimal actually does something here real quick. It looks like it does not. No, not really. All right. Let me see Yeah, it doesn't do anything. So you're not converting anything, right? So let's convert it back to hexadecimal, right? So now we have hexadecimal. It's a lot shorter, right? And as per everything, we're using magic because everything in these challenges, there's a lot of conversions going on, right? Paste it in here, turn back magic on, and lo and behold, this time it is base 85. It says from here, from hex. Actually, no, it's hex. I was wrong. For some reason, magic fed me this properties here that I was looking at, but I should have looked at the recipe. So it's hex in a flag, and that's how you get the flag for Dialtone. So kind of a long-winded process. We had to download a decoder that would give us the numbers, following some errors with NIMBY, and then we had to kind of remember back on the original note about a long phone number. So maybe the number was just too long at that point. This one you could have really gotten really too far down a rabbit hole. It could have been a problem, but we have big number conversions. Since it was a very long, big number, we could just convert it using a different tool set to bring it back down to size a little bit and try that conversion that way. And that's how you solve it. It's not an easy peasy thing. I'm not going to state that this was like within 5 minutes of figuring it out. Myself, without using the write up, I probably would have been stuck with this number for a little while before realizing that we might have had to convert it to a different format, and then that's where the flag was. So with that being done, we are done with these challenges that I wanted to go over. Let's take a look at the video real quick, and we're just under an hour, which is what I wanted to hit upon. And to kind of review, we did go over layer security, chicken wings, Comprezz, human 2, and Dialtone. Next video that I'm going to try to prepare either sometime today or tomorrow, we'll go over traffic. Video 6 says backdoored Splunk. I'm still looking into how well I can make that video. If it goes pretty well, I'll probably do backdoored Splunk with something like F12 because we haven't done that yet. And I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and put that in here. So F12, which I haven't done yet. We might just do it together on video, or I might just practice it to make sure I have all the steps through. Let's see, video 7 will be dumpster fire. I think with dumpster fire we will also do, let's take a look at what we haven't done here real quick. Let's see. Oh, this is all, yeah, this is gonna, so Xerion's gonna be its own video too. Xerion. Alright. Probably with video 7 we'll also do Wimble, because that should, even though it's not solved here today, one of my team members is working on it to claim the points for their profile, so that way they're good to go on that point. So what else do we have? So yeah, traffic will be next. I think that's all the challenges here. Obviously more videos to follow past these 4 upcoming videos that we'll be making. I'll probably be streaming here. It's the 10th of October right now, so I'll probably be streaming maybe the 12th or the 13th, depending on how schedules go and all that stuff. So but do suspect a couple more videos to come out, hopefully video 5 and maybe video 6 today or tomorrow, and later on the week these videos. I'm always playing catch up with these challenges, which is fine. It's usually the case. We're going to have challenges every day coming out until October 28th, I believe. Let me take a look at this. Click on this real quick. October 31st. All right, so we got plenty. We got 21 more days of challenges to do it. So until next time, I will see you guys later.